Get out of that seat. This is my confirmed seat. I gave you an order. He didn't touch you. Move him already.
Do not touch my documents. Paid and confirmed.
The seat is being reassigned. To him?
We need to sit together. Then you should have booked it.
Stand up now.
State the safety reason. Turn that phone off!
No! He threatened me! I reached for my ticket!
Captain, remove him. Close the door.
You're locking us in?
We handle this internally.
Your full names. What? Yours and his.
You are being removed. For refusing to surrender his seat, boarding is still open.
Stop challenging my authority.
Preserve.
Put the phone down.
I'm making one call. You need permission. No.
Keep recording?
Gate C-17.
Who are you calling?
Gate C-17. Preserve every record. What did you just do? Who was that? You'll know shortly.
Captain, lights outside. 2 vehicles just stopped.
Open the door! Nobody moves!
Someone's knocking. What do we say?
The truth. Nobody touches a device!
This is a crew matter.
Badges on the counter.
He threatened us. I recorded everything.
Preserve the manifest. Who are you?
The first-class cabin went silent when the flight attendant struck the black passenger across the face and ordered him to give up the seat he had legally purchased. Why did the captain lock the door instead of stopping her? Why did 3 crew members look away while a phone kept recording? The man in the plain navy jacket touched the folded letter in his pocket, asked for everyone's names, and made one quiet call. He never raised his voice, but before the aircraft moved an inch, federal inspectors were at the gate, the crew badges were being collected, and one hidden report was about to destroy more than a flight. Stay until the final hearing reveals why they feared his name. Your full name, the man in seat 2A said. The flight attendant's hand was still half raised. A red mark had begun to warm his cheek, but he did not touch it. Around them, the first-class cabin seemed to shrink beneath the white ceiling lights. An ice cube clicked once in a glass across the aisle, then stopped. What? Mara Voss said. Your full name, and his. He nodded toward the captain standing at the forward door. Captain Grant Hale folded his arms. Sir, you need to sit down and stop escalating this. I am seated. A few passengers shifted, leather creaking under them. Elise Carter held her phone chest high from 3C. The tiny recording timer kept moving. Hale noticed it. Ma'am, turn that off. No, Elise said. Her voice shook, but the phone stayed up. You don't get to erase what happened. Mara stepped into the aisle. He reached for me. He reached for his boarding pass, Elise replied. Enough, Hale snapped. He reached back and locked the aircraft door with a hard metallic click. No one leaves. No one records. We handle this internally. The man in 2A looked at the silver watch on his wrist. The second hand crossed 12. You locked the door? He asked. For cabin control. Before pushback? Hale's jaw tightened. Your name? Isaiah Reed. Mara gave a short, breathless laugh. Fine. Mr. Reed, you're being removed for non-compliance. Isaiah opened his dark brown folio and took out his phone. Mara moved closer. Put that away. He lifted one finger, not toward her, but toward the screen. I am making one call. You don't have permission. I don't need it. The line connected on the second ring. Isaiah spoke quietly. Lena, Gate C-17. Do not let this aircraft move. Preserve the cabin records, the manifest, and every crew message from the last hour. Mara's face changed first. Not much. Just enough for Elise to lower the phone a fraction and stare. Hale stepped forward. Who are you calling? Isaiah listened, then answered, Thank you, and ended the call. You need to tell me who that was, Hale said. No, you need to tell me why a paid passenger was struck after refusing to surrender a confirmed seat. Dorian Vale, standing near row 1, tugged at his cuff. Captain, this is becoming ridiculous. I have people waiting in Washington. Isaiah turned his eyes to him. So do I. For the first time, his voice thinned. His thumb pressed against the folded letter inside the folio, tracing the worn edge through the leather. Mara saw the movement and mistook it for weakness. Then cooperate, and maybe you still make your little appointment. Isaiah looked at her for a long moment. It is not little. The cabin went still again. From the jet bridge came the muffled sound of fast footsteps. Hale glanced toward the door, then at the clock above the galley. "What did you do?" he asked. Isaiah said nothing. A radio crackled outside. Another voice answered, clipped and official. Someone tested the locked handle once. Then came 3 firm knocks. Hale did not move. The second hand on Isaiah's watch crossed 12 again as blue-white light flashed across the oval windows, and beyond the glass, 2 unmarked vehicles stopped at the gate. At 5:42 a.m., Isaiah Reed stood barefoot in his kitchen, waiting for the kettle to stop rattling. Rain tapped the dark window. The apartment smelled of coffee grounds and cedar oil from Evelyn's old writing desk. On the counter, beside his silver watch, lay a folded letter and his wedding ring. His phone buzzed. "Tell me you're already dressed," Camille said. Isaiah looked at his white shirt hanging over a chair. "Mostly." "That means no. It means I'm holding a conversation." "You promised me, Dad." The kettle clicked off. Isaiah poured the water slowly, turning the mug handle outward the way Evelyn always had. "I remember. No staff, no last-minute meeting, no disappearing into a hallway because somebody says urgent." "I remember that too." Camille exhaled. Behind her voice came the echo of a large room and chairs scraping across the floor. She was already at the memorial hall. "The scholarship board arrives at 6, she said. "Guests at 7. We read Mom's letter at 7:30. Together." Isaiah touched the folded paper with one finger. "Together," he repeated. There was a pause long enough for the refrigerator motor to hum between them. "You said that at the hospital," Camille said quietly. His hand stopped. "I know." "And then you took a call." "I know." "You always know after." The sentence landed without force. That made it worse. Isaiah slid the wedding ring into the inner pocket of his folio. The metal tapped against the leather. "I'll be there before 7, he said. "Don't say it unless you mean it." "I mean it." Camille did not answer at once. When she finally spoke, her voice had softened, but not forgiven him. "Mom wrote the last page for both of us." Isaiah closed his eyes. For a second, he saw Evelyn at the dining table, wrapped in a gray shawl, holding the paper flat against an autumn draft. "I haven't read it," he said. "I know. Neither have I." That was the agreement. That was before she died. The rain thickened against the glass. Isaiah picked up the letter, checked the fold, and placed it in the folio behind his boarding pass. He aligned the corners twice before closing the clasp. "Camille?" "Yes?" "I am getting on that plane." "You're getting to the hall?" "Yes." "That's not the same promise." He looked at the empty chair across from him. Evelyn's blue scarf still hung over its back, though neither of them had discussed why. "No," he said. "It isn't." A car horn sounded 6 floors below. His driver was early. Isaiah pulled on charcoal trousers, the white shirt, and his navy blazer. He left the tie on the bed. At the door, he returned for the folio, then stopped when he noticed the ring-shaped mark his coffee mug had left beside Evelyn's photograph. "Dad?" Camille asked through the speaker. "I'm here." "Then stay here." He wiped the circle with his thumb and placed the cup in the sink. "I'll see you tonight." The call ended before either of them said goodbye. At 6:03, Isaiah stepped into the hallway. The elevator indicator glowed red above the doors, descending 1 floor at a time. He fastened his silver watch and pressed the folio against his side. Inside it, the unread letter made a soft paper sound when the elevator arrived. At 6:31 a.m., Isaiah stepped beneath the glass canopy of Hartsfield Regional Terminal as rainwater hissed under the tires behind him. The driver reached for his folio. "I've got it," Isaiah said. Inside, warm air carried coffee, floor polish, and the faint metallic smell of the security lanes. Travelers moved beneath pale blue departure screens, dragging wheels over tile seams. Isaiah checked the time, then joined the priority line. At security, an older man in a tan coat struggled to lift a canvas bag onto the belt. Isaiah set down his folio. "May I?" The man nodded. "Shoulder's not what it used to be." Isaiah raised the bag and turned it so the zipper would not catch. "Thank you, son." "You're welcome." By 6:48, he was walking toward Gate C-17 with his navy blazer folded over one arm. His phone showed one message from Camille. "Empty chair is saved." He stopped beside a window, typed, "I'm coming," and watched the words sit unsent. At the gate, Mara Voss stood behind the podium reviewing a service tablet. Her hair was pinned so tightly that one loose strand kept brushing her cheek. A notification appeared in red. VIP request. Keep 2B and 2A together if possible. Client advisor traveling separately. Avoid disruption. Mara frowned. Celeste. Celeste Wynn, the senior cabin supervisor, leaned over. 2A is occupied. Can we move him? Confirmed purchase. No upgrade code. Mara glanced toward Isaiah, who was polishing rain from his watch with a handkerchief. He looks flexible. That isn't a category. Captain Grant Hale approached, carrying a paper cup and checking the wall clock. Board in 4, he said. We missed target twice this month. Today, doors close early. Mara lowered her voice. We have a seating issue. We have a departure issue. Solve the first without creating the second. His cup lid clicked as he pressed it down. Then he walked away. Boarding began at 7:02. Isaiah scanned his pass and stepped onto the jet bridge behind a couple arguing about a suitcase. Near the aircraft door, junior attendant Jonah Trent greeted him. Morning, sir. Seat 2A, left side. Isaiah nodded. Thank you. He placed his folio under the seat in front of him, folded his blazer across his lap, and checked the letter inside without removing it. Across the aisle, Elise Carter arranged a tablet and a notebook. She noticed the careful movement, but said nothing. Dorian Vale entered last among the first-class group, speaking into an earpiece. No, I need him beside me, he said. That was the arrangement. He stopped at row 2 and looked from his seat, 2B, to Isaiah in 2A. There's been a mistake. Isaiah looked up. Mine is 2A. Dorian's smile did not reach his eyes. I'm sure they'll sort it. Mara appeared behind him, tablet held against her ribs. Mr. Reed, would you mind coming with me for a moment? Is there a problem with my ticket? Not exactly. Celeste, standing near the galley, looked down at the manifest. Beside 2A, the status remained green. Paid. Confirmed. Mara saw it too. Then Captain Hale's voice came over the intercom, asking the crew to prepare for an on-time departure, and the red VIP message flashed again on her screen. The red message flashed again before Mara dimmed the tablet. Mr. Reed, we can offer you another seat. Isaiah kept one hand on the blazer across his knees. Where? Row 22, aisle. Dorian Vale remained in the narrow space, cologne cutting through the coffee smell. Passengers waited behind him. Isaiah drew out his boarding pass. Is the move voluntary? It's an operational adjustment. That wasn't my question. A suitcase wheel struck the threshold. Jonah asked the line to wait. Dorian checked his phone. I have a meeting with the company's principal investor. We need to review documents in flight. Then you should have booked adjoining seats. Dorian laughed softly. Let's not make everyone's morning difficult. Across the aisle, Elise stopped arranging her notebook. Mara bent closer. The crew is directing you to relocate. Under what safety rule? This is not a debate. Then put the reason in writing. Only the ventilation hissed above them. Mara glanced toward the cockpit. I don't issue paperwork for seating adjustments. Then I don't consent. The boarding pass stayed steady between 2 fingers. A woman near row 3 whispered, "That's his seat." Dorian stepped closer. Do you know how many people you're delaying? Isaiah checked the clock. Boarding is still in progress. That's not the point. It is if delay is your excuse. Jonah lowered his eyes, swallowing a reply. Mara straightened. Refusing crew instructions has consequences. What instruction? To move. For whose safety? Dorian's jaw hardened. For efficiency. Elise lifted her phone. You said operational. He said efficiency. Which is it? This does not involve you. It involves everyone you're holding in the aisle. Mara locked the tablet. Celeste stepped forward. May I see the request? We discussed it. We discussed whether a move was possible. Captain Hale appeared at the galley. Why are we stopped? Passenger resistance, Mara said. Isaiah kept his eyes on her. A request was presented as an order. Hale glanced at Dorian, then the boarding pass. Sir, help us leave on time. I bought this seat. We're offering transportation on the same aircraft. In a different cabin. Hale rubbed his nose. Is this worth delaying a full flight? Isaiah folded the pass along an old crease, then opened it. Is giving my paid seat to a preferred passenger worth asking me to surrender it without explanation? Nobody answered. Behind the curtain, a coffee pot clicked. Heated plastic drifted from the galley oven. Hale lowered his voice. Mara, handle it. He disappeared into the cockpit. Dorian leaned toward her. I was told this would be resolved. It will be. Celeste moved through the manifest. Seat 2A is confirmed. Paid fare. No upgrade. No error. Mara looked at the green line, then the red VIP message. Refresh it. Celeste frowned. Why? The system may not have updated. Isaiah slid the pass into his folio. Please don't change the record to justify the request. Mara's eyes snapped to him. The tablet chimed. Celeste stared as the green status beside 2A vanished. A spinning gray circle appeared where Isaiah's confirmed ticket had been. Celeste tapped the screen twice. The gray circle spun, disappeared, then returned beside seat 2A. That isn't a refresh, she said. Someone changed the status. Mara angled the tablet away from Isaiah. The system updates constantly. Not from confirmed to pending after boarding. Dorian exhaled. Can we stop pretending this is complicated? Isaiah opened his folio and laid the printed pass across his knee. The paper whispered against the leather. Show me the timestamp. You are not entitled to internal records. I am entitled to know whether my ticket was altered after I sat down. Behind them, wheels rattled over the metal threshold as boarding resumed. 2 passengers squeezed past, both watching the floor. Jonah leaned toward Celeste. I saw it before boarding. Paid and confirmed. Mara turned. Return to your position. I'm saying what the screen showed. You're not assigned to ticketing. No, but I can read. The words came out louder than he intended. Heat climbed his face. He stepped back toward the galley, fingers missing the top button of his vest. Celeste lowered her voice. There's an audit trail. Operations can review it later. Later is after he's moved. Dorian checked his watch. Exactly. Isaiah's phone showed Camille's name above the time, 7:11 a.m. He called. She answered on the fourth ring. Dad? I'm on the plane. A microphone squealed overhead, then went dead. Mara stood close enough to hear. The sound crew needs your final line, Camille said. They're printing the program. I may be delayed. Her breathing changed. How delayed? I don't know. Why? Mara reached toward the phone. Calls must end when the door closes. The door is open, Isaiah said. Camille heard her. Who is that? There's a seating issue. You have 2A. I saw the receipt. I know. Dad, don't let them pull you into another fight. He looked through the oval window. Rain streaked the glass, smearing the runway lights. I'm trying not to. Then come home. We can stream the ceremony. It's your mother's letter. And I need you there more than I need you fixing another problem. The line crackled. Isaiah pressed the phone closer. Will you be there when I read it? Before he answered, the call dropped. Call failed remained on the screen. His thumb hovered over redial. Mara said, Now please stand. Isaiah lowered the phone. Was my reservation changed? No. Celeste looked up. It was. Dorian muttered. Unbelievable. Mara's voice sharpened. Celeste, enough. Jonah returned, holding a receipt strip. The printer kept the original boarding snapshot. He handed it to Celeste. At 6:59 a.m., seat 2A was paid. Confirmed. At 7:09, an override had been entered under a supervisor code. Celeste read the code twice. This is yours. It's a shared login, Mara said. Then why tell him nothing changed? Cold ventilation moved along Isaiah's collar. He darkened the failed call screen and placed the phone beside the folded letter. Mara reached for the receipt. Jonah pulled it back. For 1 second, nobody moved. The galley smelled of hot plastic and burnt coffee. Then Captain Hale appeared in the cockpit doorway. Why is there still a passenger in that seat? Captain Hale's question hung over the aisle. Mara turned first. He refuses a lawful instruction. Isaiah looked at the captain. I refuse to surrender a paid seat after your crew altered the record. Hale's gaze moved to the receipt in Jonah's hand. Give me that. Jonah did not move. Now. Jonah passed it over. Hale read the timestamp, folded the strip, and slid it into his pocket. Celeste stared at him. That belongs with the incident file. There is no incident file yet. There is now, Elise said from 3C, her phone raised. Hale pointed toward the aisle. Mr. Reed, stand up. State the safety reason. You are disrupting departure. I am sitting in my assigned seat. Dorian stepped between the rows. Captain, remove him and let us leave. Isaiah turned only his eyes. You keep speaking as though the aircraft is yours. Dorian's mouth tightened. People like you always make this personal. The ventilation fan hummed above them. Mara leaned down until her perfume overwhelmed the burnt coffee smell. Last chance. Isaiah opened the folio. I am showing you the original ticket. Her hand shot out. Don't reach toward me. He stopped with 2 fingers inside the leather pocket. I said don't. I heard you. Then obey. The silver edge of his credential showed beside the folded letter, but Mara fixed on his hand. She seized his wrist and pushed it down against the folio. Elise stood. He didn't touch you. Sit down, Hale barked. Isaiah slowly freed his wrist. He did not rise or raise his voice. Mara, Celeste said, step back. Mara had gone pale. He was reaching. For paper, Jonah said. Stay out of this. You changed his seat. You want another disciplinary note? Jonah's lips parted, then closed. That retreat steadied Mara. She reached for the folio again. Isaiah moved it onto his lap. "Do not take my property." "Then stand." "No." The word was quiet. Mara slapped him. The sound was flat and sharp, louder than the overhead fan and the rain ticking against the windows. Across the aisle, an ice cube clicked once in a glass and stopped. Isaiah's head turned slightly. For one breath, nobody moved. Elise's phone trembled, but stayed pointed at them. Celeste covered her mouth. Jonah whispered, "Oh, God." Mara looked at her own hand, then stepped back. "He came at me." "No," Elise said. "He didn't." Hale moved into the aisle. Everyone remained seated. "You saw it," Elise said. "I saw a crew member responding to a threat." "You saw her hit him." Dorian looked down. Isaiah faced forward again. A red line warmed his cheek, but he did not touch it. He straightened the folded letter where it had slipped from the folio, pressing its worn edge flat with his thumb. "May I have your full names?" he asked. Mara's breath caught. Hale ignored the question and reached for the interphone. "Gate control. We have a hostile passenger refusing removal." Celeste stepped between him and the handset. "That is not what happened." "Move." "I watched the whole thing." "So did I," Elise said, holding up her phone. Hale stared at the recording timer, then looked toward the open aircraft door. "Close it," he told Mara. "Nobody leaves until we have one version of this report." "Close the door," Hale repeated. Mara pulled it shut. The seal engaged with a heavy thud, cutting off the jet bridge noise. Warm air settled around the rows, thick with coffee, perfume, and overheated plastic from the galley. Hale lifted the interphone. "Gate control, Captain Hale. We have an aggressive passenger refusing crew direction." Elise rose halfway from 3C. "That is false." "Sit down." "You watched her hit him." "I watched a crew member protect herself." Isaiah remained in 2A, one palm on the folio. "Preserve your exact words, Captain." Hale covered the mouthpiece. "You are in no position to give instructions." "Then a complete record should not trouble you." Mara rubbed her palm against her skirt, as if the motion might erase what it had done. Celeste stepped closer. "The report must say he was seated. It will say he made a sudden movement. He reached for his ticket." Hale turned on her. "Do you want to be included in the removal?" Jonah flinched beside the galley curtain. "You too," Hale said. "Write that he ignored repeated commands and advanced toward Mara." "I can't write that." "You can, or explain why your probation ends today." Jonah's fingers searched for his collar button and missed twice. Isaiah looked at him. "Write only what you saw." Hale laughed. "Now he's directing witnesses." A gate agent entered when Mara reopened the door. Owen Briggs, 38, wore a wrinkled vest and kept glancing at the departure clock. "Who's coming off?" he asked. Hale pointed. 2A, threatened crew, refused relocation. Elise raised her phone. "Watch this first." Owen barely looked. "Ma'am, put that away." Isaiah stood slowly, hands visible. The folio slipped from his lap and struck the carpet. Its clasp opened. The folded letter, boarding pass, and a dark credential wallet slid into the aisle. Owen bent, picked up the wallet, and saw the federal seal. His thumb paused. "What is it?" Mara asked. He closed it before reading the name. "Could be anything." "You can verify it," Isaiah said. "We'll verify you outside." Hale nudged the boarding pass with his shoe. "Remove him before he delays us further." Celeste stared at it. "Captain, that is evidence." "It is trash, unless operation says otherwise." Isaiah crouched to gather the letter. It lay face down beside Dorian's polished shoe. Dorian stepped back. "Sir," Owen said, "come with me." "Am I being detained?" "You are being removed." On whose written authority? Owen's scanner chirped. Don't make this harder. Isaiah tucked the letter into the folio and left the credential wallet in Owen's hand. Keep that safe. They entered the jet bridge. Cold air leaked through the seams, smelling of rain and fuel. Behind them, Elise called, "I have the full recording." Mara answered, "Delete it, or you may be removed too." Owen led Isaiah into a gray service room beside the gate. A metal table stood under fluorescent tubes that buzzed without pause. The door shut, leaving only the scrape of shoes outside. Through the narrow window, Isaiah watched Hale return to the aircraft. Inside, the captain unfolded Jonah's original receipt, tore it once, and handed the pieces to Mara. "Now," he said, "we make the report consistent." At 7:24 a.m., the fluorescent tube above Isaiah flickered and settled into a buzz. The service room was colder than the aircraft. Air leaked around the doorframe and lifted Evelyn's letter on the metal table. Isaiah placed the folio over it and sat. Through the narrow window, his aircraft remained at the bridge, cabin lights bright against the rain. His phone showed 3 missed calls from Camille and 1 voice message. He pressed play. "Dad, they've opened the doors. Everyone's here." Chairs scraped behind her. A microphone released static. "I told them you were coming. Your chair is beside mine. I put Mom's scarf over it so nobody would move it." Isaiah's thumb tightened against the phone. "They're asking whether we should start without you." A pause. "Please don't make me read her last page alone." The message ended. Isaiah set the phone face down. The table carried the vibration into his wrists. He watched the folded paper shift in the draft. Owen Briggs opened the door. "We need a statement." "May I leave?" "Not until security clears it." "Am I detained?" "You're being held for review." "Did you verify my credential?" Owen slid the dark wallet onto the table. Operations found no matching record. "You checked through the company involved in the complaint." Owen's eyes moved over Federal Seal. "I followed procedure." "Then write it down." "I'm trying to help you." Help begins with an accurate record. Owen left without the wallet. Isaiah opened Evelyn's letter. The paper had softened along the folds. His fingers trembled until the lower edge tapped the steel. "My 2 stubborn people," the first line began. He stopped. Rain clicked against the window. Mara crossed the jet bridge carrying a clipboard. Hale followed, speaking near her ear. Neither looked toward the room. Isaiah read the next sentence. "If one of you is missing when this is opened, do not punish the one who stayed." His breath caught. He folded the page before the last paragraph. For the first time that morning, he considered accepting another flight and letting the altered report become somebody else's battle. Camille's empty chair felt closer than the aircraft 10 yards away. He called her. Voicemail answered. "It's me. I am trying to get there. If they ask you to begin, wait 10 minutes, no more." He ended the call and dialed Lena Park. She answered immediately. "Isaiah, where are you?" "Service room beside C-17. "What happened?" "A crew member struck me. The captain ordered a false report. They changed the manifest and tore the original receipt." "Are you safe?" "Yes." "Do you want the press?" "No press." "They may be deleting records." "Use the legal channel. Federal Passenger Safety Inspection, Airport Council, Duty Prosecutor. Preserve the manifest, crew messages, cabin audio, and gate video. If I identify you, this becomes public. Identify me only to those required to stop the aircraft." A chair moved on her end. "Do I ground the flight?" Isaiah looked at Evelyn's unfinished letter, trembling above the metal. "Do not let it leave the gate." Lena inhaled once. Understood. A shadow crossed the narrow window. Owen had returned with 2 airport officers, Isaiah's credential open in his hand. Owen opened the credential wallet beneath the fluorescent light. One officer read the name, then looked at Isaiah. Senator Reed? Owen's face drained. Operations said there was no match. You asked the carrier, Isaiah said. Ask the issuing office. The second officer stepped into the corridor. Rain blurred the gate signs beyond the narrow window. Owen kept the wallet open on the table. His radio crackled. C-17, hold all movement. Federal inspection en route. Owen stared at Isaiah. You called them? I called counsel. At 7:31, Lena Park's voice came through the officer's speaker. Identity confirmed. Preserve every record connected to Flight 417. Hale's voice burst over Owen's radio. Why is my pushback blocked? Remain parked, Captain. We removed the disruptive passenger. Then preserving the cabin should be easy. Outside, the departure board changed from boarding to delayed. A chime sounded, and passengers looked up together. Inside the aircraft, Jonah stood behind the galley curtain with his phone hidden against his vest. Celeste blocked Mara's view while he opened the printer cache. Hurry, Celeste whispered. The receipt is gone. The cache isn't. The 6:59 snapshot appeared. 2A. Paid. Confirmed. Beneath it sat a message from Hale's account, time-stamped after the strike. Rewrite as threat response. Make it consistent before security arrives. Jonah's thumb hovered over Lena's number, copied from the card Isaiah had dropped beside the letter. If they trace this, I'm finished. Celeste watched Mara pace near row 1. If you don't send it, he is. The images left his phone at 7:34. Lena forwarded them to Federal Inspector Mira Sloan and the airport's duty prosecutor. Mira called at once. Do we have an altered passenger record? We have the original, the override, and an order to rewrite the report. Independent witness. A passenger recorded it. A junior attendant saved the cache. Then nobody touches that aircraft. 2 unmarked vehicles stopped beneath the terminal overhang. Mira entered through the staff door. 38, rain shining on her gray coat. Who has the credential? She asked. Owen raised his hand. Who declared it invalid? Carrier operations. Name. I don't have one. Find it. She stepped into the service room and placed Isaiah's wallet beside the folded letter. Senator Reed, I need your consent to obtain the recording. You have it. Protect the witnesses first. Mira nodded. The aircraft stays. Her phone rang before she reached the door. We searched prior complaints using the captain's name and override code, an analyst said. There's a closed file from 8 months ago. Closed how? No witness interviews, no cabin data review. The complainant was a flight attendant. Send it. A PDF opened on Mira's tablet. The first page described a passenger forced from a confirmed premium seat after a VIP request. The report had been amended under the same supervisor code now attached to Isaiah's manifest. At the gate, the board still read, Delayed. Then a second line appeared. Crew review in progress. Mira looked through the glass at Hale standing inside the aircraft door and raised the old complaint where he could see it. Mira crossed the jet bridge at 7:39 a.m. with 2 inspectors behind her. Hale blocked the doorway. This is an active crew matter. It is now a federal preservation matter. Step aside. Mira raised the complaint. Captain Grant Hale, no aircraft movement, device deletion, or manifest changes. Cabin audio, service tablets, gate video, and crew messages remain untouched. Mara stood behind him. The passenger threatened me. Elise Carter has a recording. Mara's eyes snapped toward 3C. And your junior attendant preserved the original seat record. Jonah went still beside the galley. Celeste shifted in front of him. Hale lowered his voice. You are delaying a commercial flight over an unverified allegation. Open the cockpit and place your phone on the counter. I answer to operations. Today, operations answers questions too. One inspector entered the cockpit. The other sealed the service tablet in a clear sleeve. Plastic crackled. Owen escorted Isaiah through the door. He held his folio against his ribs, the folded letter inside. Dorian Vale sank into 2B. Mara pointed. That is the man. Mira faced the cabin. For the record, this is United States Senator Isaiah Reed, chairman of the Senate Passenger Safety Subcommittee. A breath moved through the rows. Dorian whispered, Senator. Isaiah returned to 2A, but remained standing. Elise lowered her phone. I knew he wasn't lying. You did not need my title, Isaiah said. You saw what happened. Someone near row 5 began clapping. 2 others joined. Isaiah raised one hand. Please don't. The applause stopped. If my name changes what you witnessed, the next passenger without one is still in danger. Mira turned to Hale. All assigned crew members are removed from duty pending review. You cannot remove my entire crew. I just did. This aircraft misses its slot. Hundreds of connections fail. You locked the door to control witnesses and ordered one report before investigators arrived. Jonah spoke first. He told us to write that Mr. Reed advanced toward Mara. Mara spun around. You were warned about insubordination. Celeste said, and I watched him remain seated. The force in Hale's posture drained. Badges on the galley counter, Mira said. Mara unclipped hers. Celeste placed hers beside it. Jonah hesitated. Isaiah looked at Mira. He preserved evidence. He is removed from this flight, she replied. Not from protection. Jonah set down his badge. Hale was last. 4 pieces of metal lay beneath the coffee machine while its heating plate clicked. At 7:50, the gate supervisor returned. Earliest replacement crew is 90 minutes out. Isaiah checked his silver watch. The memorial began in less than an hour. His phone lit with Camille's name. Are you coming? She asked. He looked at the sealed devices, the badges, and Evelyn's letter pressing against the folio clasp. I'm still at the gate. A microphone hummed on her end. A chair scraped across the floor. They're asking me to begin. Isaiah closed his eyes. Then begin, he said. Camille did not answer. Beyond the window, the departure board changed again. The aircraft would receive a new crew, but the chair beside his daughter would remain empty. At 10:12 a.m. 3 days later, Isaiah sat beneath the white lights of Hearing Room B while a wall monitor froze on the moment Mara's hand crossed the aisle. No one spoke. The frame showed Isaiah seated, his folio open, 2 fingers touching his boarding pass. Mara stood over him. Captain Hale's face was visible beyond her shoulder. Arthur Bell, the independent review chairman, folded his glasses. Ms. Voss, you testified that Senator Reed lunged toward you. Mara's thumbnail scraped her paper cup. That is how it felt. I did not ask how it felt. Her attorney leaned closer. She perceived a threat. Arthur pointed to the screen. The recording runs continuously. Elise sat behind Isaiah, hands around the phone she had used on the flight. The room smelled of hot cables and stale coffee. Rain tapped the narrow windows. Arthur pressed play. On screen, Isaiah said, I am showing you the original ticket. Mara's recorded voice answered, Don't reach toward me. Isaiah remained seated. Mara seized his wrist. Celeste asked her to step back. Then came the slap, sharp through the hearing room speakers. Arthur stopped the video. "Where is the advance?" Mara stared at the table. There wasn't one. Hale shifted beside her. "The cabin was unstable. I acted on crew reports." Mira Sloan opened a sealed folder. "Your first report was created at 7:18. This message was sent at 7:26. She projected Hale's words. "Rewrite as threat response. Make it consistent before security arrives." That message reached 3 crew devices, Mira said. "Why?" Hale's chair creaked. "To prevent contradictory statements." "To prevent accurate ones," Jonah said from the witness table. Hale turned. "You were already under discipline. For questioning seat overrides." Celeste pulled the original manifest closer. She had smoothed its upper right corner so often that the paper had begun to curl. Arthur noticed. "You saw the ticket status before boarding?" "Yes." "And after the override?" "Yes." "Was Senator Reed's seat an error?" "No." "Did you say that in the cabin?" Celeste flattened the same corner again. "Not loudly enough." Isaiah looked at her, but she kept her eyes down. Arthur waited. She tried once, stopped, then said, "I knew Mara changed the record for a VIP request. I knew Jonah was telling the truth. I thought if I challenged the captain, I would lose my job." Elisa's phone clicked as its screen went dark. Nobody reached to wake it. Celeste continued. "So I watched a man get blamed for refusing something he never owed us." Isaiah finally spoke. "Fear explains silence. It does not correct the record." Celeste nodded. A tear struck the manifest, blurring the ink beside seat 2A. Arthur asked for the cabin audio. Mira played Hale's order to close the door, followed by his demand for one version of the report. The words sounded smaller in the hearing room, but more deliberate. Then Mira placed a red-stamped file beside the monitor. "This review no longer concerns one flight," she said. "We found 46 earlier complaints with altered summaries. The next file is number 47. Across the table, Hale stopped breathing for one visible second as Arthur broke the seal. Arthur Bell opened file 47 and removed pages stamped closed in red. The ink had bled through the top sheet. "Nia Alvarez," he read. "Former flight attendant. Complaint filed 8 months ago." A woman in a charcoal coat entered with Mira. Nia, 33, wore silver hoops and gripped one sleeve at the wrist. Arthur raised the file. "Is this your report?" "That is what they turned it into." "What did you submit?" "A statement about a passenger forced from a confirmed premium seat for an investor's guest. He was calm. The captain ordered us to call it a safety removal." Hale shifted. "I don't remember that flight." Nia faced him. "You signed the correction." Mira placed 2 pages side by side. One said passenger declined relocation. The other said passenger displayed threatening conduct. "The language matches the Reed report," she said. "Calvin Rusk gave us a template," Nia replied. A duct clicked overhead. Beyond the wall, a copier fed paper. Arthur asked, "Who is Rusk?" "Regional Director. 56. Cinnamon gum, an open door, and a voice meant to be overheard." Mira displayed an email. "Customer influence scores affect crew reviews. Resolve high-value requests without escalation." Jonah leaned forward. "That score was on our evaluations." Celeste stopped smoothing the manifest. "If we refused a VIP request, our schedules changed," Nia said. "If we wrote what happened, the report came back marked inconsistent." "How many times?" "I know of 9. Mara whispered. "You never told us." "I told the company." Nia touched the red stamp. "They told me it was closed." She lifted page after page. Each carried the same word. Arthur turned to Hale. Did Rusk pressure you to alter reports? No. Mira slid forward 2 earlier forms. Hale's signature appeared beneath amended summaries. Administrative corrections, he said. Both removed references to VIP seating requests, Mira replied. Dorian Vale was called forward. Did you contact Rusk before boarding? Arthur asked. I asked whether adjacent seating could be arranged. Did you ask for Senator Reed to be moved? I didn't know who he was. That was not the question. The monitor hummed. Dorian looked down. Yes? Isaiah spoke without turning. Would your request have changed if you knew my name? Dorian opened his mouth, then closed it. Mira's tablet chimed. We found 23 reports amended from Rusk's account. 12 involve paid seat removals. 6 mention pressure from investors or executives. Arthur looked at Nia. Why did you leave? She rubbed her coat cuff. They made me apologize to the captain for filing the complaint. The sentence emptied the room. Celeste pushed the manifest away. Arthur gathered the red-stamped files. This commission is referring record alteration and witness pressure to federal regulators. Hale bent toward his attorney. Mara covered her mouth. Mira's phone rang. She listened, then looked at Isaiah. Calvin Rusk has resigned. Isaiah closed Evelyn's letter inside his folio. Resignation does not preserve evidence. Mira nodded and reached for the door. Outside, inspectors were already entering Rusk's office, where 3 more boxes marked closed waited beneath his desk. By noon, Calvin Rusk's resignation had become the smallest part of the case. Arthur Bell reconvened the commission after inspectors confirmed that Rusk's office contained 3 sealed boxes, 2 drives, and evaluation sheets marked with VIP scores. The room smelled of toner and cold coffee. Mira placed a photograph of the boxes on the monitor. Chain of custody is established. Nothing was removed. Hale's attorney whispered, "This is no longer internal." It never was, Jonah said. Arthur turned to Mara. Your employment is terminated for physical misconduct, false reporting, and interference with a witness recording. Mara swallowed. I was under pressure. You still raised your hand. She looked toward Isaiah. I thought they'd cut my roots. Isaiah kept both hands on his folio. You had choices before you reached me. Her eyes dropped. Arthur faced Hale. You are removed from command. Your authority is suspended pending federal review. Later, in the crew locker room, Hale removed the 4 gold stripes from one sleeve and placed them on the bench. Thread caught under his thumbnail. Jonah entered to collect his things. You came to watch? Hale asked. No. You think they'll reward you? I think the report should say what happened. Hale stared at the stripes. That sentence cost me 30 years. Jonah shook his head. The rewrite did. Across the building, Celeste signed a 12-month suspension agreement and agreed to testify in every related complaint. I stayed quiet because I needed the job, she told Mira. Many people need their jobs. I know. Then tell future crews what silence costs. Celeste folded the agreement into thirds, but the edges would not align. At 2:15, the Carriers Council met Isaiah and Lena in a glass conference room. A compensation figure sat atop a letter. We can resolve your claim immediately, the attorney said. Isaiah did not touch it. What happens to Jonah? Whistleblower protection and paid leave. Nia? Reinstatement or back pay. And the passengers in the other files. Those matters require review. They required review when they were filed. The attorney pushed the letter closer. Lena said, Isaiah, you are entitled to damages. I know. Then why refuse? He opened the folio enough to see Evelyn's folded letter. Because the next passenger may not have a title worth compensating. He proposed an independent fund for passengers and employees who reported coercion, financed by the settlement, and monitored outside the company. The attorney asked for time. "You had 8 months after Naya's complaint," Isaiah said. "Use the next hour better." By evening, the carrier accepted the fund, whistleblower protection, and external review. Mara left. Hale carried his uniform in a garment bag. Celeste stopped beside Jonah. "I should have stood with you. You can stand next time." Isaiah's phone lit. Camille had sent a photograph of Evelyn's blue scarf draped over the empty chair. Below it, she had written, "We still have to read the last page." He closed the image as Mira entered with a draft marked Passenger Dignity Protocol. "This is only a beginning," she said. "Then let's make it difficult to undo." At 8:05 the next morning, Isaiah stood beneath the commission seal while 2 pens waited on the table. The draft was 12 pages long. Its title read Passenger Dignity Protocol, but it still allowed a supervisor to move a paid passenger for operational convenience. Isaiah tapped the phrase, "That stays out." The carrier's attorney adjusted her glasses. Flexibility is sometimes necessary. Then name the reason. Equipment changes, weight balance, verified safety concerns. Those are reasons. Convenience is not. Mira Sloan faced the airline delegation. "Rewrite it." Across the room, Celeste sat beside Jonah and Nia. None wore uniforms. The heating vent rattled above wet coats. Policy Director Paul Mercer cleared his throat. "We can require supervisor approval." "One supervisor approved my override," Isaiah said. "Then 2. Independent, with both signatures preserved." That could slow boarding. So can removing the wrong passenger. By 9:20, the language required written consent or 2 authenticated safety findings. Original manifests could not be overwritten. Every amendment would create a permanent timestamp visible to regulators. Nia leaned over the draft. "What about pressure on crews?" "That is an employment matter," Paul said. "It became a passenger matter when fear changed the report." Celeste folded her notepad corner. "Add a reporting channel outside management. Anonymous if needed. No schedule penalties during review." "Anonymous reports can be abused," the attorney said. "So can closed doors," Celeste replied. At 10:03, Jonah pointed to another gap. "VIP requests still appear beside performance scores." "Those metrics are commercially sensitive," Paul said. "They are coercive," Isaiah replied. The company agreed to remove them. Training came next. The proposal was a 2-hour online module and a quiz. Isaiah turned the page back. "No." "What exactly do you want?" Paul asked. "A live scenario. One employee questions a superior. Another preserves the first record. A third checks the passenger's documents before anyone uses the word threat. That is expensive. So were 47 buried complaints." At noon, 2 fresh copies were placed on the table. Outside, the rain had stopped, leaving the city washed silver. Isaiah uncapped 1 pen and turned the second toward Mira. "Why 2 signatures?" Paul asked. "Because no single office should own this." Mira signed first. Isaiah signed beneath her. The scratch of both pens crossed the paper together. Then Isaiah slid the protocol toward Jonah. "Read the final line." Jonah swallowed. "When facts are disputed, status will not determine whose account is protected." Celeste lowered her eyes. Nia pressed both palms flat against the table. "Publish every revision," Isaiah said. The attorney hesitated. "Publicly?" "Publicly." By evening, the protocol appeared on the commission site. 47 red stamps were replaced by one word: reviewing. Isaiah's phone buzzed in the elevator. Sis. Camille had sent a picture of 2 chairs in the memorial hall. Saturday. No speeches. Just us. He watched the doors close, then typed, "I'll be there." For the first time, he did not add a promise he could not control. 6 months later, at 6:47 p.m., Isaiah entered the memorial hall carrying the same dark brown folio beneath his arm. No cameras waited outside. Only 40 folding chairs faced a small table where Evelyn's blue scarf lay beside 2 glasses of water. Camille had reserved the seat next to hers, but this time she had not draped the scarf across it. "You came early," she said. "I said I would." "That has not always meant the same thing." Isaiah accepted the words. He removed his silver watch, placed it inside the folio, and sat beside her before the first guest arrived. When the room filled, Camille unfolded Evelyn's letter. The paper had softened at every crease. She held one edge. Isaiah held the other. "You start," she whispered. He read until he reached the sentence he had seen in the airport service room. "If one of you is missing when this is opened, do not punish the one who stayed." Camille's thumb pressed into the paper. "I was angry at the empty chair," she said. "You had reason." "I'm still angry." "I know." She read the final page aloud. It contained no grand farewell, only instructions about watering a stubborn fern, returning library books, and refusing to let important work become an excuse for avoiding each other. When she finished, Isaiah folded the letter once, not 4 times, and left it between them. 3 weeks later, Jonah Trent stood inside a training cabin with 12 new attendants. His title card read, "Passenger Safety Instructor." A trainee pointed to a staged seating dispute. "What if the captain tells us to rewrite the report?" Jonah held up the untouched manifest. "Preserve the first record. Ask for the instruction in writing." Celeste watched from the back row as part of her reinstatement program. Nia Alvarez sat beside an independent observer, taking notes for the Employee Protection Board. Afterward, Celeste approached Jonah. "I thought keeping my job meant staying quiet." Jonah handed her the checklist. "Now teach them what quiet costs." By spring, the public report listed 47 reopened complaints. 12 passengers received apologies and compensation. 6 crew members were restored after retaliatory discipline was removed. Every seat override now required 2 authenticated signatures, and original manifests could no longer be erased. Mara Voss lost her position and completed de-escalation training before taking administrative work outside cabin service. Grant Hale remained barred from command, while regulators reviewed his altered reports. Calvin Rusk's resignation did not stop the inquiry. He was prohibited from holding an aviation oversight role. Dorian Vale gave sworn testimony and was dropped by the investor he had tried to impress. On an October morning, Isaiah and Camille boarded another flight together. Jonah greeted them at the door, now supervising a route evaluation. "Seat 2A, he said, checking the screen. "Paid. Confirmed." Camille smiled. "You checked twice?" "New rule." Isaiah placed the folio beneath the seat. Inside were Evelyn's letter, his wedding ring, and the silver watch he had removed at the memorial. He left the watch there. As the aircraft pulled away from the gate, Camille turned the letter so they could both see the last line. Isaiah read it once and closed the folio. "This time," he said, "we arrived together." Morning light moved across the wing. Have you ever witnessed someone being dismissed, pressured, or treated as though their dignity depended on their title? Share what happened in the comments, especially if one quiet witness changed the outcome. Send this story to someone who believes fairness matters most when nobody powerful is watching. Stories like this remind us that courage is often a saved document, an honest sentence, or the decision not to look away. Subscribe for more stories about justice, quiet resilience, and the systemic changes that can begin with one person refusing to accept a false version of the truth. And as you leave, remember the empty chair, the preserved record, and the people who finally chose to speak.